Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a lot that we want to get into. We want to get into this NBA season here, a lot of stuff to talk about. So make sure you go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you hear any noise in the background, people are doing something outside, and I can't control what people do. So let's get just excuse that. So let me get into this now. As y'all know, NBA training camp starts today, and I, for one, am extremely excited to have basketball. Only about a month or so away. I can't wait for the preseason. I can't wait for training camp. I can't wait for the season to start, finally. And it seems like teams are beginning to fly to various destinations for their training camp. And for the Clippers, they're going to be flying to Las Vegas. So they're going to be doing their training camp in Las Vegas. And during media day yesterday, we finally got a chance to hear from Kawhi Leonard, who we haven't seen in a very long time. And as y'all are fully aware, Kawhi Leonard doesn't post on social media. So if you don't see him in one of these media days or maybe a picture of him somewhere, you're not going to really hear much about Kawhi Leonard. And as he plans to make his return to the team, Kawhi made it clear yesterday that he believes that this team, the Clippers team, can be a legitimate contender this season, and he gave a plethora of reasons why he believed that. But before we get into that, this video is brought to you by our sponsor, Aura, who's also the official sponsor of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Do you know what the fastest growing crime in America is today? It's identity theft. Imagine trying to log into your email only to see that your password has been changed. Then you start getting weird notifications from your bank and credit cards, only to find out that all of your personal and sensitive information has been totally compromised. If you think it can happen to you and your family, just know that in 2020, over 49 million Americans were victims to identity theft, costing them a combined $56 billion. That is why we are excited to partner with Aura, who's the sponsor of this video. Aura is the #1 identity theft and financial fraud protection. Aura monitors the dark web and alerts you if any of your passwords and accounts have been breached. And funny enough, after using Aura, I discovered some of my credentials were floating around in the dark web, and the app showed me exactly when and where the breach happened. In addition, Aura allows you to set spending alerts, and they'll notify you of any suspicious transactions. Aura is 4 times faster than any of its competitors in alerting you if someone is trying to open a credit card or obtain a loan using your name. And remember this, every 14 seconds, someone becomes a victim of identity fraud. Don't let it happen to you. Now click the link in the description and try Aura for free for 2 weeks and see if any of you or your family's personal information has been compromised. Start your free trial at aura.com/dreamerspro. And when you try Aura, by using the link in the description below, also know that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do is we want to play what Kawhi Leonard had to say, basically for you to listen to the reasons why he believes the Clippers can dominate this season. And then we're going to come back and react to it. So take a listen to what he has to say here.
Hey, Kawhi, over here. How have you felt about how Lawrence Frank and the front office has rebuilt the team around, or kind of fit around you and PG?
I think he's done a great job. We got a lot of talented wings on our team that it could play both ways. Dribble, shoot the ball, be able to, guard multiple positions. And I think that's what you need right now in this NBA. Guys that could guard and just switch and be able to knock down open shots. And, we'll see how it unfolds this year, but I'm excited. We got training camp tomorrow.
Thoughts on Norman Powell? He didn't play that much last year, but showed flashes of, being good. Robert Covington and John Wall, what are your thoughts on those additions to this team?
I think Norm's good. He's could play both ends of the floor. He's good at on-ball defense. Definitely could shoot. He's improved his scoring, his passing since I played with him with the Raptors. And Covington just, brings us another guy that could guard multiple positions and stretch that floor out for us. And John, all I could really go back is the 2 years when I seen him against us versus Houston. He was playing well. That's the last time I probably seen him in person in a live game action, other than the practices here. But he's been looking great. So let's put it all on the floor and see what we could do. Like I said, we got a lot of talent here, and I think we can make something happen.
Now, if you paid a close attention to some of the things that he said, one of the things he keyed in on was he talked about wings, right? And I think that's where this Clipper team stands out from a lot of teams in the NBA, right? The Clippers probably have the best combination of small forwards and guards in the entire NBA. If you go through the list of players that they have, it quickly becomes obvious why I feel this way. They have Nicholas Batum, Paul George. Let me just say something quickly about Paul. Paul George look like Indiana Pacers? But it actually took me a few minutes to actually look at Paul George's face and realize that he almost looked like a mannequin at certain points. I mean, his skin and everything, but his beard. So Paul George, good to see Paul George back with his original cut. You know, they have Nicholas Batum, they have Paul George, they have Kawhi Leonard, they had Robert Covington, they have Marcus Morris Sr., who's one of my favorite Clippers, they have Norman Powell, who's a great acquisition and was part of that Toronto Raptors championship team. He's a great player. They have Terrence Mann. We've been witnessing the progress and the development of Terrence Mann over these years, and you saw how big he came up last season in that Game 6, I believe it was, against the Utah Jazz to close them out to go to the Western Conference Finals. And of course, they have the all-star guard in John Wall, who seems more confident than ever. And I've been looking at some of John Wall's clips about their he's like, I'm on that. I like it, right? I like his bravado. I like his confidence, and I think it's good. You need a guy like that. And John Wall, something to note about him that I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to. John Wall has this type of energy that I believe is infectious. He has that similar type of energy that Patrick Beverley has, where he can galvanize guys, get them pumped up. He seems to have that, and I think that's a good thing for the Clippers, because Kawhi Leonard doesn't really seem like a rah-rah type of guy. But if you have a guy like that on your roster, I believe he can ignite that team, not just on the fast break, but especially on the sidelines and with his emotions. I think that's a really a great thing. And I think it's one of the reasons that this Clippers team matches up really well against, for example, the defending champions in the Golden State Warriors. I think they match up against them very well. Or even the Boston Celtics, right, who's a very talented team full of a lot of wings and talented wing players. Or even the Milwaukee Bucks. They have multiple defenders that they can throw at guys, but they can also score, which forces defenses to also play them honestly, where you just can't key in on one particular guy or try to double Kawhi or double Paul George, and of course I forgot to mention Luke Kennard, who's also a stud. And of course they have Ivica Zubac. I think if they were to face the Warriors in the finals, I think they'll be able to hold their own. I think Giannis, if they would be able to face the Bucks, I also think that the Clippers are also taking that into consideration, that, hey, if we somehow manage to make it to the NBA Finals, we may end up meeting a team like that. So we need to be able to be constructed in a proper way to be able to handle a team like that. I still think, however, that Giannis Antetokounmpo would be a nightmare matchup. Kawhi Leonard was able to get the best of him in 2019, but Giannis Antetokounmpo has gotten better since 2019. He's become more confident. He's become an NBA champion since then. So I think for Kawhi Leonard, he'll be a handful. I think obviously he'll be their best perimeter defender, and maybe that's one of the reasons Kawhi Leonard has put on a lot of muscle this offseason. If you see him, he looks like he's able to put on. He's been able to put on some decent size, and he's been able to get a bit stronger. But I still think Giannis Antetokounmpo is the single most overwhelming matchup in the NBA. He's a nightmare, and I don't think that Kawhi Leonard man to man can guard Giannis Antetokounmpo in a series. For as talented as Kawhi Leonard is, Giannis is just too much of a he's the most dominant NBA player since we've seen physical, like we're talking about from a physical standpoint, since Shaquille O'Neal. There's nobody like Giannis, nobody whatsoever. I mean, he was just ragdolling cats, as you saw in that Boston Celtics. I mean, it was like, okay, you want to put up a wall? I'm going to go through your chest. People like, that's the most charged offensive. He didn't care. He got to the point where he's like, man, just let this guy pass, because I don't want him to injure me on the way to the basket. So I do honestly believe, however, that the Clippers can be one of the teams this year that can win it all. I'm not saying it definitively because I don't know, and I'm not going to come into that the end of this season with that type of energy, but I also think that the other teams could win it, like the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll see what happens with the Boston Celtics, obviously. Of course, you have the Golden State Warriors, who are going to be legitimate, and obviously there's going to be a team that no one foresees, get into the finals. So these are my thing, and I believe the Brooklyn Nets could possibly win it all too, right? Because they have a lot of talent, and Kevin Durant is really that good. Like, there's also that. So these are my thoughts and opinions, and what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think about everything that I said, what Kawhi Leonard said, whatever you guys think. Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and we'll definitely catch y'all on the next episode. Peace.